December the 3rd, 2025, and you know why you're here, so let's kick this off right and introduce the players. Hey, I'm Jaristar, a WoW esports aficionado.
Hey guys, it's Big Man. I'm an add-on enthusiast and a Rogue fanboy.
Hey, I'm Treesap Jake, and it is quite literally an hour until midnight here in the UK.
And today, we're going to have a fierce debate with our guest, the one and only people's champ, Verunki. How's it going, Ven?
I'm doing well, thanks. I didn't know we're going for a debate, huh? That's good. Okay, let's go.
I'm joking. I'm totally joking. I'm sure we're going to agree probably on like 90% of add-on changes in midnight.
Maybe,
which
yeah.
I'm excited to talk about.
You think so? Because correct me if I'm wrong. Like, who is for the add-on changes? Actually,
I guess I'll be taking the position of I'm for the add-on changes, but with the caveat, I don't like the way it is right now. You know, like I think when I play the beta right now, it seems like the add-ons, or not the add-ons, like the functionality of the UI is a little underbaked. So yeah, the caveat is like everything gets improved, then I'll be happy.
okay. So you like the direction you're going, but you don't like what they've baked in so far.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. And Big, how about you? Are you for the changes, or are you like hashtag revert back?
Good question. I think in principle, I agree with like the design idea that you shouldn't need add-ons to play the game, and add-ons probably shouldn't provide a crazy competitive advantage. But at the same time, I do like the customizability that add-ons have allowed in the past. Of course, you can still customize add-ons with Midnight, just like, you know, what you can track is now being kind of determined by Blizzard with their whole secret values. So I'm kind of, yeah, I don't know. Like I like it in principle, but as Verunki said, like in execution so far hasn't been totally solid.
All right. So some commonality, but slightly different take. How about you, Jake? How do you feel about the add-ons?
I'm very pro getting rid of them. I think I've always played like very minimal. The only thing I'll be really sad about will be the loss of my like using dominoes, the aesthetic side of things. But I would much rather not have them. I think it feels for me like it would just be a nice little level playing field. Maybe that's a bit more jaded as an approach, but yeah, I'm excited. I think all of my friends are excited to kind of just jump in. But I agree with like Ven and Big. Like I think it needs a lot more work for it to be functional and enjoyable.
Okay. For you, Jake, though, is that you, because you love playing Classic, like you really enjoy doing a bunch of stuff in Classic. So that you leaning back to the whole Classic stuff where it was like back in the day when we really didn't have any add-ons? Like I think if somebody had a DR tracker, that would make them king kind of thing because they were able to track stuff.
Yeah, but everyone uses them now anyway in Classic regardless. So it's kind of like it's almost irrelevant really. But I think... Okay. No, I think I think it would be really great to just see how it goes and just see what changes. I'm intrigued to see how many people struggle maybe because they've been totally reliant on add-ons, like, you know, weak auras and stuff. I'm intrigued in that sense. But
no, fair. So I think on that case, I'm going to take a stance of I wish it went back because I have I'm going to take the stance of I have little faith that Blizzard is actually going to be able to do it well. They're going to do it best. They'll probably do it okay, but I feel that the add-on community has always superseded anything Blizzard has ever put together for UI. And yes, I know now they have a UI add-on developer, UX developer, but I'll just take the stance of let's go back. Blizzard get the hell out of the way and let the add-on developers actually build stuff that's usable for us to do what we need, because there's too much other crap in the game that we need add-ons to trim it down so we can make decisions that are needed. So that's the stance I'm going to take. But all right, so we got the players in the field. We know what everybody's take is. So let's start off with the first part. Is Ven, I know you've been playing, like you play literally daily. It's your job, right? Like let's be honest.
Quite a bit.
Yeah. Where are we at in the beta for the add-ons that they've developed and allowed us to use for tracking our own cooldowns, diminishing returns, our teammates, and compare that to what we are currently experiencing in the War Within? What's the difference? Where are we at what's the delta between those?
Well, I mean, we can just talk about the things that are added so far. So their replacement damage meter, I think, is not good. Like, rate it maybe like a 1 out of 10 currently. Like, you can't even track enemy damage. So you can only track your team damage. There's very limited things. I think you can do like interrupts, maybe, which is basically damage and healing of your own team, which isn't super useful. I mean, for myself personally, I feel like the analysis of details is a huge part of the game for assessing what happened in the game, how you can improve, what other people are doing well. And I think that's not even just for PvP, that's just across the game. So if they don't have a good damage meter similar to what details is, I think that's a huge loss for the game in general. And then other stuff like their arena frame, not so good right now. Their party frames. I think the biggest issue in the game right now is the party frames. I think healers are just in a really, really rough spot. Just based off the information that they have available, it's really terrible.
And okay.
Yeah. And actually, to add on that, the damage meter, it's not only like stripped back in functionality compared to details, but like apparently some of the information it gives you is just straight up wrong. Like, normally when you click details, you get like a damage breakdown. You can see that your Mortal Strike did 30% of your damage, your Ren did 20%, whatever. Apparently that information is just like not even correct in the Blizzard details. And another problem, I don't know if this is happening with PvP too, but if you're like in a dungeon on the beta and you leave the dungeon, your damage meter clears. So you can't even like go back and see, what's there. And I don't think there's a death log yet baked into the damage meter. Nope. So it's strictly a downgrade. So I agree. It's like
not even close,
probably one of the worst implementations. I mean, luckily, so as far as the arena frames go, you can still technically use like arena frames, or arena frame add-ons. Mm-hmm. Like I know Bodhi, who works on Better Blizz plates and Better Blizz frames, he has his own version of S Arena right now that's working on the beta, and it basically gives you. So, just to back up a little bit, add-ons can't really do anything more than the Blizzard UI currently does with combat. So, the current Blizzard arena frames on the beta, they show health bars, they show DRs, I believe they show cast bars, and they might show some other details that I'm forgetting. You can basically replicate all of that with S Arena, but you couldn't customize it any further. Like you couldn't add anything that the Blizzard arena frames aren't currently showing. So that's kind of the main restriction is whatever the Blizzard default UI is, add-ons can't really do much more than that. They can just kind of cosmetically tweak it a little bit. So even though the Blizzard arena frames kind of suck, I think S Arena is a popular arena add-on, and you have all the same functionality pretty much that you did in the past. Maybe you can't see like the big debuffs on the frames, but other than that, like that's pretty good. But yeah, I agree with Ven also. The party frames, the raid frames really suck. And especially, I don't know if they fixed this yet, but if someone's like debuffed with a poison debuff or a curse,
oh no,
their whole frame turns like this weird color and it looks like they're dead. Like it's awful. So they have a lot to fix.
We got time though. We got time. I will say
yeah.
I will say I'm not overly concerned about the death meter though, because yes, the death meter shows how you died like in the last 5 seconds and you got 100 owed or something like that. But I've always found, call me jaded, but I always found like death meters were a sham in showing that you died in the last 30 seconds or the last 5 seconds or whatever, but it doesn't show what you did the minute and a half before that put you in the situation that then you died to, right? Because it's like showing the checkmate in the last move, but not showing that you lost your 2 rooks and your knight 8 moves before, and that put you in the checkmate situation anyways. So,
yeah,
I don't know. I will say though, why don't they just pay off the details dev and just take details?
I don't know. It's a great question. I'm not sure. I think a lot of it comes down to just like the functionality that they want to limit, right?
Yeah.
So That's the whole reason for this in the first place, right? Is they felt there was a bit of an arms race with add-ons and encounter designers, and it got to the point where because of add-ons, they couldn't design fights without them being completely trivial. Like if you don't have add-ons, basically they're impossible. And if you do have add-ons, that's what the fight is designed around. And so I think that's the reason for the change to begin with, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to point fingers, but it's pretty obvious that they were just trying to get rid of weak auras specifically. Like that, I think, was the problem that Blizzard could never solve, specifically in PvE, where weak auras were just like always this arms race for, the race to the world first, kind of this problem when it came to encounter design. How do you design around weak auras? And then in PvP, I mean, I think this is one area that I think we would all probably agree on. Like weak auras kind of created this, I don't know how to explain it, like this very static gameplay loop that players kind of got used to, where instead of really thinking and kind of analyzing the game in real time, it's like they were just kind of waiting for like an air horn to pop and to blast in their ear before making a decision. And I think, obviously weak auras were the biggest problem that they were trying to solve. But the thing is, like, if you want to solve weak auras, you kind of have to limit everything else, or at least, you can't make weak auras not work without making other things not work in the process.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just me, but slightly off tangent, but regarding weak auras in general, I feel like we needed them in like Shadowlands when there was just so much stuff like randomly like the was it the Windwalker monk spinning crane kick or something that suddenly just would one shot you, and you kind of needed to be aware of, oh, he's got this number of stacks and nobody could track it, whatever. And then we just all got really used to it, and then it just became so prolific. And going into Dragonflight, like everyone had this stuff because we downloaded Mez's latest weak aura pack or something. And I feel like that's sort of when it became almost endemic with the entire community. So I feel like that arms race is true, and we've kind of risen up this way. I actually don't necessarily feel like there's such a bad thing to have a really base version, but I understand it is like a downgrade and it does suck. Hopefully, fingers crossed, by the time Midnight comes out, we've got something at least that shows the enemy team's damage, something along those lines.
I'm wondering, can we survive with what we have, with what they provided so far? Because let's be honest, what we're going to have for abilities, what we're going to have for kicks, what we're going to have for cooldowns is not going to be the same in Midnight as what we're going to have in the War Within, right? So, arguably, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I it's kind of a separate tangent, but I think it depends on the class. Like some classes feel like they're the exact same or they gained more. Some classes feel like they were toned down, but it doesn't seem consistent amongst the classes for me. But to answer your question, I feel like with the information we have available, like this is what I want, a really good damage meter. Go back, like if it could just be like details, that'd be great. A really good arena tracker. I think good raid frames where you can actually properly display crowd control and important debuffs, and we have the options to filter out useless debuffs we don't want. If the actual in-game frames will properly display like important offensive and defensive cooldowns, things like that, and debuffs, and it could be good. Like theoretically, with how it is right now, it could be good, but I feel like we're a bit away from that. So, fortunately.
So in that case, we should probably just go back to the way it was.
I mean, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing, and from my understanding, and this was like revealed in sort of the latest round of add-on updates or UI updates, Blizzard can supposedly turn on and off secret values on a per spell basis. So in theory, I'll just preface this by saying what I'm concerned about is the fact that we're not able to track interrupts on the beta currently. Like Omnibar is completely gone. But in theory, Blizzard could enable some Omnibar functionality for owning interrupts. So you can only track interrupts. So I think it's possible that in the future, I think interrupts would be, if there's one concession they would make for on a per spell basis in PvP, it would probably be interrupts. I don't really care about tracking. Like, of course, like it would be useful to track enemy defensives, enemy offensives, CC, but interrupts I feel like are the most quality of life thing if you're a healer or a caster, because it's really like if you've ever played without Omnibar as a healer or caster, you feel kind of stupid. Like you're either juking when there's not a kick available, or you just get kicked because you didn't know that they had kicks available. So that just feels really bad. Like that whole interaction needs to be solved somehow. But the fact that they can flip on and off the switches, I think is very interesting. And I think maybe they're going to leverage that in the near future. Because if there's one thing I don't want to go away, it's the ability to track kicks. Like that's kind of my cutoff point.
Yeah, no, totally agree. I think you definitely need that. I think they're just like a few steps away from having something that is totally workable and great. But yeah, I think I welcome the simplicity, and I welcome, kind of us all being put on the same level. And I think that's good. But as kind of Ven was saying, like, it's just, it's not properly functional. 1 out of 10, I think is such a sticking point, like this add-on that you've added, this sort of part of the UI is 1 out of 10. And it's like, okay, well, if we can get to 5 out of 10, I feel like I'll be happy.
Yeah. Do you so Big Moran, do you think it's like you want to be able to track cooldowns like of enemy players? You think that's a good thing? Because I think it's like little things like that we may disagree on.
I don't really, again, I care the most about tracking interrupts. I think that is like the thing that, like, when I play the game, juking is such like a fundamental interaction with PvP. I'm total, like, I'd be very sad if we cannot track interrupts in the next expansion.
But do you think a good concession to that would be if, like, do you think interrupts need a better like display, like maybe a better like sound cue or a better visual so you can clearly track them a little bit better? Because I always thought like back in the day, it's going to be an old man moment. Like someone that can actually pay attention to interrupts and track them like in your head, you're going to have like a big advantage, Mm-hmm. And if they were, I think right now it's hard to do that. But like if you heard, if a mage uses counterspell and you heard that really, really loud, clear visual from anywhere on the map, like you would kind of know when it's available and when it's not, right? If you haven't heard it in a really long time. Same thing.
Yeah,
I
think I agree. I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah, especially since we had like blankets, blanket spell lock. Like you could see it as a debuff. But like I think a key difference between gameplay back in TBC, Wrath, Kata, and so on to now is like you're not just interrupted by kicks. You're interrupted by, like, if you try to cast a spell against a hunter, maybe he's gonna kick the first one. Maybe he's going to feign death the second one. Maybe you're going to get scattered on the third. Like there's so many things that can stop your cast these days that I really think that knowing when interrupts are available are like, it just makes the game playable. And if there wasn't as many micro CCs, I agree. Like maybe there could be some other way of internally tracking, like, in your head counting when a kick is available. But because there's so many things that can just straight up stop your cast these days, I really think that's like,
to be fair, like, to play devil's advocate just a little bit, they did, like, that's one of the things they said they want to do, right? Like first of all, they got rid of the third DR. So that doesn't exist. The only 2 diminishing returns you have to deal with micro crowd control. And they also removed a bunch of it, like they removed things like scattershot as an example. So there is a little bit less in the game and there's only 2 DRs. So I think they're kind of going towards that.
Yeah. There's so many, like, it's just so many random things though. It's not because, like, say you're trying to cast against a DK and a Resto Shaman and we'll just say a mage at the same time. Like you're dealing with multiple DRs. You're dealing with a disorient from DB. You're dealing with stun from Lightning Lasso. You're dealing with grips. You're dealing with knocks. You're dealing with grounding totem. Like in a real arena environment, even if they've removed like some CCs, and even if they've condensed the CCDRs, there's still potentially so much that can prevent you from casting. And like, again, like, yeah, removing some of the CCDRs or like having things DR after 2 effects like certainly helps. But the fact that there's so many different categories of DRs, especially knocks, there's so many knocks in WoW these days. Yeah. Like so many things can just disrupt your cast with the knock. Evokers have one
They got rid of a lot. They got rid of one of the evokers. They got rid of blast wave. They got rid of knock drop. And just to be clear, I'd be fine if they added an interrupt tracker. I kind of think it would be okay if they didn't, as long as they make the interrupts more clear. But yeah,
I know where you're going with this, Ben, because you've been saying this quite often about the add-on that Mez has, where it makes the volume regardless of distance in your ears, so you can hear it from wherever you are.
Yeah, I think that's
exactly
the best.
too. Yeah.
Well, that's the best thing. I think it's actually a really important thing that they need to add, is because Jake is right. Like it all started in Shadowlands, where you needed Mez's package. If you didn't have Mez's package, you're just going to get one shot instantly from a cooldown across the map. And one of the things Mez did that was really genius is he basically just he had you could see it on your screen, but the most important thing is he made it so the sound file played loud regardless of where they are on the map. So like if a mage combusts 100 yards away, you still hear it at full volume. So you can always kind of know what's going on in the game. And I think that's really, really clutch. I hope that they add that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I'd just like to specify, we all love Mez's package on this on this stream. It just
hard
made
not
me
to,
laugh
yeah.
when you said it. Hard not to.
Wait, I have a take, and I want you guys' opinion on it. I am glad that Omni CD is going away. Like, as much as I like Omni CD as a healer, I think it's one of those add-ons that kind of creates this toxic environment in solo shuffle. Like we've all experienced it, where we die and then we look at our disc priests and they still have swap available and we just get mad. As much as I think that Omni CD is like helpful for me as a healer, I'm not gonna be upset when it goes away. Like, because I think it creates this really toxic social environment in the game. So that's one add-on where I'm like, okay, cool. Like, bin it. It's no big deal.
No, I can attest to that. When I'm on my healer, the first thing I do, like if I'm in a crowd control, I just stare. Like, or if I ever lose a game, let's say I die or someone on my team dies, the first thing I do, immediately on my frames, looking who has a cooldown. That guy had kick. This guy had kick. He had wall. And it's very easy to blame your team. But at the same time, I mean, to get rid of that, it's also going to be a little bit harder for healers to kind of know. They don't want to overlap maybe with the die by the sword of the warrior. That's going to be a little bit more difficult. But that's where I think, theoretically, you should be able to see those things. Like it would be nice if it was really clear when like my warrior used die by the sword. Like I could see it really clearly.
I think they're implementing that. I don't know if they have already done that, but I do believe there's supposed to be like some external defensive feature added maybe to raid frames and at some point. Yeah, because I think to me that's like a really big quality of life thing as a healer, to see to very clearly see when my partner has pressed a cooldown. And I don't think like that should be hidden. Like that's such an important part of gameplay across PvE.
I agree.
Mythic Plus. That's totally fine. The other add-on I'm sad to see go is like big debuffs. I think that's like one of those like sort of like benign add-on. Like it's just a very it's a comfort add-on, like
what functionality?
Well, like just there's so many buffs and random buffs and debuffs that every single class has. Like, you load into an arena and before the game even starts, if you've ever looked at how many buffs you have before the game even starts, you have like 6 by default. That's like whatever the event that's going on, like the bonus honor, bonus reputation, you have those buffs on in arena. There's just so much random stuff on your aura frames that it's just like there needs to be some way to filter that out. And big debuffs has always made that kind of a bit convenient.
Can they still do that though? I feel like that's something that they might be able to still do. No, like that's just removing. I hope. I totally agree with you. By the way, like 100%. But I feel like that could be something that stays.
I think you can, but I am just add on. I am concerned about cognitive overload and what you can or maybe not be able to remove from your friends and your allies, right? So in your party frames, like if there's 18 buffs on there and you can't get rid of the insignificant ones, then then we're back to that same problem where somebody's trying to see, oh, that's the buff or the debuff that I need to be aware of because they're about to one-shot me, but I can't see it amongst the forest of all this other baloney that doesn't really matter.
Yeah. I mean, when like I play Druid, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think for a while in the beta there was only a hot limit of like 4. But now I think they've increased it, I believe, to 6. But I think like the location of the hots is like kind of completely random. Like for instance, if I have Life Bloom and Rejuve on one person and Life Bloom, Rejuve, and Regrowth on another person, like maybe those are all going to be in different orders. So it's kind of like weird to like visually parse that, but that's kind of more of like a resto druid, like a hot based healer type thing. Um, but I don't know where else I was going to go with this. Oh, one thing that's I think is interesting. I don't know if anyone's like thought about this besides me, since I'm a genius. But I think the no add-ons change is a huge buff to like Resto Shaman. Like, because so many, so many people are using like add-ons to make totems more visible, and all that's going to go away. So I think if you play Resto Shaman and you're like, oh, you're kind of worried about, the pruning your class kind of got, I don't think you should be super concerned, because not only is what's that?
Is that going to go away for sure? Like,
Yeah,
isn't that just a nameplate manipulation? Like,
it is, if the Blizzard nameplates cannot display that information, then nameplate add-ons can't. So Blizzard nameplates can't like create an icon of Healing Stream Totem or Healing Tide. So not only is that happening, but Earthen Wall is getting removed, which might seem like a big deal, but it's like that's maybe actually kind of a good thing, because now Blizzard can put more power into other heals, and Earthen Wall is kind of this annoying cooldown to deal with as a Resto Shaman. So I think some classes are going to kind of get, as I think Verunki said this earlier, like some classes get buffed or nerfed more depending on these add-on changes. I think Resto Shamans are definitely a winner, because you're not going to have people snipe down totems nearly as quickly as before.
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually curious. Gladiator Losa going as well. I've always been a bit hit and miss with this add-on. In fact, by the fact that I tried it one time, found it really disturbing. I know a lot of people use it. I wonder how that's going to affect things as well. Like, are there going to be other ways that people kind of have to learn things? Are things going to be far more simplified now, as you're saying, Ven? Like, they've removed a lot of the CC, a lot of micro CC, a lot of the DRs. Are people going to have to relearn how they're listening to things and what they're listening to in game, rather than that sort of automated voice telling them what everyone's doing?
I mean, yeah, probably. I think the thing I like to think about is like everyone is going to be in a similar situation, right? Like a lot of the time when people discuss these changes, they think about it kind of like, okay, if I'm playing retail right now and I lose all my add-ons, like it's going to suck. Like I'm going to lose. But so is the enemy healer, you know what I mean? Or the enemy DPS. So I think on some level, it's going to create more of like an even playing field. But I mean, a lot of the things that, Will Big Moran says he wants to keep, I agree. And I hope they nail it, So I don't know. I don't even know what, because Big Moran and I, we've gone back and forth on this a lot. And I do wonder, like, is there anything like you disagree? Like, is there anything? I'm trying to think of like where our big disagreement is, basically.
See, I was expecting a huge disagreement, but I'm not hearing.
Yeah, that's why I said I think we're probably going to agree on most things. Again, my biggest thing is like interrupts. That
I don't care about interrupts. I could add it. I'd be happy. Like it's fine with me.
Yeah, it's tough because I like Omnibar. I really like Omnibar. I think it's an interesting add-on, and I think it's kind of like one of those add-ons that is rewarding for players who know how to use that information. Like if you think of a player like Waz, like he is probably, I mean, he's a very good player, but he's definitely been helped a lot by Omnibar. Like he's able to use that information to see, what cooldowns the enemy team has available to sort of plan like a win condition, which I think is really cool. Now, I'm completely fine with not being able to track enemy defensives, but I think it was something that was kind of interesting for the game. Like I think being able to carve out win conditions based on information is pretty cool. But I'm completely okay with it going away. it's just I thought it was really cool. So that's kind of my take. Is like I think add-ons do things that are very interesting for the game. Now I think some of those things that could do were a bit toxic, like weak auras, but overall, like I'm fine with most, with losing accessibility with most of these things. I do think like when players log into Midnight and they play their first like 20 arena games, it might feel a little bit awkward, but I think it's going to feel completely normal like after a few games. Like it's like real life. When something dramatically changes, it kind of feels like annoying at first, but then you just kind of get used to it. So I think we're just going to get used to this new version of WoW, and we're all going to be kind of like happy and going to be like, oh, why were we scared? But that, I mean, there's something we haven't really talked about. We've kind of like touched on it a little bit throughout this conversation, is class design, which I think we kind of need to talk about hand in hand with add-ons, because it seems like Blizzard was trying to do two things in one with Midnight. Not only make add-ons provide less of a competitive advantage, but maybe simplify classes a little bit. Venruki, I know you've been playing the beta. Are there any classes, like, I guess, first of all, what are your general thoughts about class design so far on the beta?
So I've been watching, I don't know if you've been making the videos or the skill cap videos on the different classes. And I've only hopped on a few classes so far. So like, I played my mage, all three specs of mage, and I think mage is maybe one of the outliers, especially fire and arcane, where I think maybe they went a little bit too far. Like I think mage has lost the most utility, and also just even rotationally, things like fire mage feel really bizarre to play now. But then I'm watching you make these videos, and they're showing like Demon Hunter, and it's like Demon Hunters didn't even get changed. Like, what the heck's going on? They look the exact same. Like, if anything, they gained some stuff going into the next expansion. So that's what I was talking about earlier with like the inconsistencies, where it seems like some classes got maybe overly pruned, and I'm not even talking about viability. So a lot of the time when I talk about mages, people are just like, "Oh, you're just a crybaby. Mages are OP." It's like, well, it's not. I don't care what's OP or not, because I actually think what's going to happen is even the classes that are boring will still be good. Like, I think Blizzard showed us that they actually did a pretty good job with tuning this expansion, especially in the earlier seasons. They were changing things a lot. So I have no doubt that things will be good, but it's about like the play style, right? Like, is it actually fun to play? Is it satisfying to play? And that's what I'm worried about for some classes, especially things like, Fire Mage.
Yeah. Maybe it's a bit easier for Demon Hunter to go from like 3 buttons to 4, right? Like, I think that's
Demon Hunters are actually. I think Demon Hunters actually, like, they're fun. Like I think they have a great.
Yeah, they are.
Hit.
Yeah, they are.
Devourer. Have you tried Devourer? I haven't tried it yet, so I've heard some good things and some bad things.
Only like I leveled it a little bit, so not really much experience.
And just for some context, like arenas have been unplayable on the beta so far because the trinket set bonus is like providing way too much of your main stats, so people just one shot each other when they go in arena. So and then like you can't really test it. Oh, they did. Finally. Okay, yeah.
Well, you can play now.
Oh, nice.
PSA to everyone, you can log on and play.
Yeah, before that, like you couldn't play arenas because everyone was getting one shot, and you couldn't duel because no one was doing damage. It was so you couldn't really gauge how good specs are. As far as like classes, I've been doing the preview videos for healers, and like healers are more or less I think going to feel the same. They've done like a lot of quality of life changes with healers. Like they've consolidated a lot of cooldowns. For instance, like Holy Pallies, when you press, like you no longer have Tears Deliverance or Hand of Divinity. Those are just passive procs that happen when you press Wings. So you press Wings, you get the Wings effect, you get Tears Deliverance, and you get Hand of Divinity. They've also kind of like changed the way, for instance, Evangelism works for Disc Priest. It's kind of more of like a Rapture type cooldown now. Like you press Evangelism, and now you get 0 cooldown on your Holy Word Radiance. So they've kind of like, in some ways, consolidated a lot of cooldowns together for healers. And I mean, one of the things that I was kind of excited about is they buffed the hell out of healer damage on the beta a few weeks ago. I don't know how that's going to play out like with Arena, but yeah, I think like healers have less buttons overall, and I think a little bit less maintenance. So you're going to have more, in theory, you're going to have more dead globals. So, filling those dead globals with damage is always nice as a healer. Always feels good if you can like contribute something offensively. But yeah, mostly on the healer side, I think everything has been a bit positive. I mean, there are some things that are a bit weird. Like every healer losing their kick is a bit, except for Resto Shaman. Resto Shaman still have it on a 30-second cooldown. Like playing without a kick, I think is going to be problematic for specifically Preservation Evoker. I can see it being a big issue for, but like other healers, maybe you won't feel it that much. I mean, you'll definitely feel it, but not too much, I think. So yeah, I think on the healing side of things, the game is actually looking pretty good, which is a good sign because I think, people typically don't want to play healers these days because they are a bit complicated.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't want to play healers as well because they get yelled at after a person runs around and gets trapped behind a pillar and then yells that their healer didn't heal them. Or just a little throwback to, because I was actually watching your stream earlier there, Ven, where you're playing with two ranged and one is at one side of Nagrand and the other is at the other side of Nagrand, and you can only heal one at one time because you're a Mistweaver, and that's the thing.
Yeah. I play a lot of healer, and like,
yeah.
I think sometimes I feel like healers are a little bit crybabies. Like, no offense,
Yes,
like,
it's finally someone says it.
Yeah, like as someone who plays a lot of healer, sometimes I feel like healers cry a little bit too much about these things. Like it can suck too if you're a DPS and you're heal. You know what I mean? Like if you're a DPS and your healer's not great, it's not good. But also, I've been abused by my healer many times. You know what I mean? When I'm on my DPS, sometimes I get messaged by my healer asking me why I didn't use ice block. What is my positioning? Why didn't I kick that? So it goes both ways, I think.
You have to say like, I'm sticking to a theme, guys. I have to forget it. I have to always forget it.
It's my brand, man. It's my brand.
Exactly.
That's true.
I'm going to give a shout to Jake here because this is his, but I'm going to tweak it a little bit. So historically, ever since Mythic Plus has been part of the game, we've been seeing how the Mythic Plus has made a bunch of PvE changes that then we've seen how that's impacted how PvP is played. Even after this tuning, do you guys foresee it where any PvE adjustments are also going to affect PvP in the later stages of Midnight, or maybe into Titan? Are we going to be back to that whole situation where Mythic Plus is driving how we end up playing, or basically we're PvEing in a PvP situation?
Well, they did an overhaul to all the Mythic Plus dungeons recently in the beta where they reduced. People are calling it like bolt slop. That's what all the Mythic Plus players are saying. So bolts, like is a general term for like spells that can one shot you. Like think of Chaos Bolt. Like when you pull mobs in Mythic dungeons, like they're all casting Chaos Bolt, and those are all bolts. They're not called Chaos Bolt, but you get the gist. So because they removed healer interrupts, they've also reduced the number of casters in dungeons. And they've changed the way bolts work. Like previously, I guess they could have two bolts hit the same player at once. Now they've like added some logic where that's not possible. So like, I think, and I definitely think that Mythic Plus and PvE is kind of guided, I think, the class design, and that has affected PvP. But now that it seems like they're scaling that back a little bit. Like in previous expansions, there's been like power creep. And I think this is like the one expansion where maybe there's not going to be that much power creep. Like who knows with like the Apex talents and new hero talents, but like this might be one of the expansions where it's like your character doesn't feel like 10 times better, because you're not going to have as many tools maybe as you did in the past. And I think in PvE, all they care about is like having as many tools as possible,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's very rare, by the way. Sometimes I think like I'll listen to the way like some PvEers, like people who raid and do Mythic Plus, they talk about PvP and they act as if like the game is being made for PvPers, which I just think is like the most hilarious thing. Because
really?
I don't really think that's a thing, to be honest with you. I feel like the game gets made around dungeons and raid, and then the people who tweak PvP are putting out fires and making PvP talents to make adjustments. You know what I mean? Like I think it's very. I don't know. I don't see it where the game is being made with PvP in mind, really, at least from like an initial design standpoint.
Well, yeah, and I was reading some comments on like some Reddit thread earlier today about like PvP content, and you know how there's like that new there's that PvP island in the new Koresh zone on retail. Like apparently, like it's like in the corner. Like I've never even been there, by the way.
Yeah.
Apparently,
No.
it's like in the corner of the zone. It's not even like marked. Like no one even knows where it is. Like it's just like hidden. Like
There's a
is
quest there
no.
if you have war mode. Like every once in a while, there's a quest there. Yeah, but it's
Yeah,
it's
like
literally a floating island with 4 mobs. That's it.
Yeah.
Us PvPers never really get content. Like we have this
Yeah.
new zone in the new expansion, which is like, sure, why not? Like, good, but like that's it. Like we don't get any new. Like we get a new map maybe once every few years. We get a new game mode once every few years. Like it's like a big waiting game for like PvPers. I think are the most dedicated like player base in WoW because they get nothing like every expansion. There's nothing, no changes for PvP, like fundamentally. And we just press Q.
I'd argue though is that everything we get is evergreen. Like it's so replayable. Like we can still play Ashran anytime we want, or almost every time we want. Versus, how many people go back and do Mythic Rush now, and as a raid team, and be like, yeah, we got world 18 million, yeah. Like,
Well, they started doing that a bit more with like the time walking stuff, right? Like
Sure.
trying to reuse some of the old stuff.
sure, but if it wasn't the time walking, all
I
that
don't know
stuff
when's the
would go
last time I queued Ashran. I'm going to be honest. I think we should do a census and when's the last time
I was going to say,
Ashran.
the reason why we don't have another proper PvP thing is Ashran trauma. It's Ashran PTSD that has been lingering in the devs and the player base since Warlords.
No,
They complain so much.
You got the
but it was
classic
actually
Ashran.
right.
The classic Ashran brawl comes up every once in a while, and then every once in a while when you queue up epics,
Yeah, then my PC dies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. So all of our conversation has really been centered around Arena, which totally makes sense because that's really what a lot of us talk about. It's more, I guess, really simpler. But here's a question: how are all these add-on changes going to affect BGs and things like BG Blitz and because battleground enemies, like if without battleground enemies, it was very difficult to be strategic enough when you're playing a BG. And as far as I know, that's not going to, like, BGE isn't going to exist.
Yeah, I think it's actually a big problem. So at first I was like, that's not, whatever, it's not a big deal. But then I started talking, like, basically, I think what people will do, from what I understand, is if there's no battleground enemies, people will basically just, every single game have to have 8 macros, and they'll just edit them for targeting and clicking. So you'll literally just put in people's name 1 through 8 in these 8 different macros. That way you can still click on them and see where people are across the map, so with their nameplates and things like that, which I think is a really bad solution. So I think they need to make a frame for BGs. They need it.
Yeah, because battlegrounds are almost like, especially if you're doing like high rated stuff. Like if you don't have that, you're I can't even imagine.
Also this is probably going to nerf like there's an add-on called like battleground win conditions or capping. It's like another popular one. I'm assuming those are probably not going to work either.
I'm okay with that.
I mean, yeah, there's this infamous moment in MOP where Bailamos, I don't know if this was during a tournament. People, I don't know if your stream knows about Bailamos, but he was an RBG leader where he literally had a ruler next to his desk and he was measuring which cart was going to cap first in Silver Shard Mines with the ruler on his screen. So we're going to probably be doing that on different VGs, We're going to bust out our protractors and have to
But that's something that I
by.
feel like should be in the game, right? Like I feel like it could easily be in the UI, like how long this cart is it's going to cap in 5 seconds, Like that seems like it should be just in the game. And maybe that's too much to ask, but it seems reasonable.
I mean, Riot have done it, haven't they? For League, League has got. I'm sorry to talk about League, but League has got a lot of UI
How dare
updates.
you?
Yeah, I apologize. Sorry, it is heinous. You guys can whip me later, but I think the thing is that they've added lots of UI changes to that, like just simple stuff. I realize that their whole premise is PvP, but I feel like on the UI on the map, there's you could add timers easily.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's just hope that they do it, right? That's like 90%
Listen,
of this
Ben,
conversation. It could be good. Like, hopefully it happens, you know?
start tweeting now, Ben. I feel like, this is day one. Starts now. So
850 days later.
Yeah, trust me.
So here's one for you. It took until Legion before they actually had PvP tuning implemented for each ability, each spell, and that. How long do you think it's going to take before they have combat auras individualized for PvE and PvP? So we have the functionality we want. We have the availability to see kicks, what the DRs are, what our teammates had, what our opponents have, and all that, back to where we are today in PvP, but only in PvP. And then they still have the functionality where PvEers can't see stuff, and then they're not trivializing the difficulty of a raid using a weak aura or some add-on. You think it's going to take 8?
I don't think they're going to do that at all. I think like whatever it's going to be symmetrical. Like whatever they do in PvE is going to be the same in PvP. And maybe they'll make like one rule exception for interrupts in PvP, and that's it. I don't see them going beyond that. Like I think this add-on paradigm change that we're seeing is here to pretty much stay. Like they might walk back some bits and pieces here and there, but I don't think it's going to be a dramatic walk back. Like I think it's just like, and I don't think it's like this conspiracy to get the game ported onto console. I don't think it's that, even though a lot of people have said that. I just think that's like a philosophy change, which
absolutely,
they're taking a gamble. I think Blizzard is taking a massive gamble here, and hopefully it pays off.
I do respect it. I think even with the talents that they changed in Dragonflight, that was also another big gamble to move away from what we'd been doing since MOP, and I think it really paid off. So I like new, innovative Blizzard. I think that's I really rate it.
I agree. Although I do want to have all that functionality back. I want those add-ons. I want,
I don't think it's gonna happen, my friend.
I can dream.
Yeah.
Garrison, let it go. let it go.
What do you think you're gonna miss the most? Like what functionality is going that you wish was staying?
Ultimately, so I really like BGs. So the lack of battleground enemies and not being able to see trinkets and all that, that's what scares me the most. I'll be honest there. And then I guess the rest of it's really the buff and debuff bloat, especially buff bloat, like being able to see what's actually important and focus. That should still suffice. I should still be able to see that because it's personal and it's my party side. On the enemy side, I don't know if I'm going to see that or not, and that is scary. Not knowing that if I don't know, again, let's say a mage has a bunch of stacks, arcane mage has a bunch of stacks and is about to blow me up, right? Like I should hope I'd be able to have that enlarged and warning me, but I don't know if I'm going to get that or not. So, how about you, Ven?
Sure.
What are you?
What am I going to miss?
Yeah,
I'm afraid of the healer frames being terrible. Like they're so bad right now. Like it's the ones I talked about. It's like details, the healer frames, or just party frames in general. I want them to be a lot better. Being able to remove useless buffs and debuffs. And being able to isolate really important buffs and debuffs, I think is important too. Like I should be able to see on a party for like on my nameplates, I should be able to see when someone has pain suppression. I should be able to see when a mage has combustion. You know what I mean? I should be able to see, very clearly casts and just things like that is what I want to see. And then a good diminishing return tracker, trinket tracker. I want that to work well. Battleground enemies kind of thing, like you said. And then, if they want to add, if the community thinks adding kicks are important, I think that I would be totally fine with that too. I don't mind that at all.
All right. Some are similar, some are different. Jake, what about you, man?
I think it just has to be the design of my UI, really, more than anything. I've just grown used to sort of having this sort of blackboarded dominoes effect on my bars to be honest with you, since like MOP. So I think that for me is what I'm going to miss. But otherwise, no, I'm really happy to bring it back down to a base level.
Well, Jake, I'm going to give you some good news. I'm pretty sure Domino's will still work. Like
really?
you can still skin. Yeah, you can still skin your UI.
Yeah, you can make it
Like-
look however you want.
And,
Well, then
and I
I-
believe as of today, they brought Elv UI back. Like I think the developers are like piecing out for a while, but now they're back. So like, yeah, you will be able to customize your UI aesthetically. You just won't be able to get any computational advantages from your UI.
Then I guess I'll miss nothing.
There you go.
What about you, Big?
Just give me interrupts, god damn it. That's all I want. Like I'm fine with everything else. And big debuffs and interrupts, and I'm happy. Like I don't care if everything else goes away. As long as I have my Gladius, which still should work. Because I feel so stupid playing without Gladius, to be honest. Like I don't know if you've had this experience in the past where you play an arena game, maybe when one of your add-ons is broken, and it just feels like you're like a blind mouse. Like it's like that's how it feels when my Gladius isn't showing. I'm like, what's going on? So as long as I have kick tracking, Gladius, and big debuffs, I'm completely happy.
Fair enough. I just thought of one thing, and this is one thing that is concerning, is I don't know what the AWC, the spectator UI is going to look like.
Ooh. Well, it will probably be the same because
they can do whatever they want.
They can do whatever the hell they want. But actually, now wait a second. You spark something. I know we're running out of time, but maybe the AWC landscape is going to be completely different without the ability to track certain information.
Okay.
Waz is obviously a very good player, but I think part of what makes him a really good player is his ability to parse defensive cooldowns on frames. So maybe we're going to see we haven't seen a different AWC since Shadowlands, and maybe this is going to be the tipping point. We're going to see some new teams.
Well, what are you talking about? Didn't we have a new team win in both regions this year?
We did.
Yeah, but I mean, there were good new teams. These were established players. Like maybe we're gonna see some other players rise up. Some new talent climb up through the AWC.
Yeah. So
I think that requires new people to play WoW. Sadly, I don't know if they.
There's some people playing WoW. There is. I honestly, I'm being selfish though, because if we want to actually try and run our own tournaments, that's using spectator UI, and if that breaks, then we're not going to have that.
Oh, good point.
Sad times for us.
Yeah.
Technicallypvp podcast.
Yeah. Wah. We'll just have to shut her down. So I know, Ven, thank you very much for your time. Just quick.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was. It was, man. Do you have any shout outs or anybody you wanna call out?
Shout outs?
Yeah. Maybe the Warlock in your last game? I don't know.
No. I don't want to shout out anyone on my team, especially my Demon Hunter games. That's not going to happen. Yeah. I mean, just the typical shout out to you guys for inviting me here today. Big Moran, Jake, Garasar. Great conversation today. Shout out to all the homies in the Twitch chat with the Twitch Primes, always appreciate them. Sell out a little bit. Who else? My mom, my wife, all that good stuff.
All right.
All the fans. I don't know. I always feel weird, on the spot. What's up?
How was the turkey?
Oh, it was good. Yeah, that was good. Shout out to my mother-in-law. She killed it. Lots of good stuff. The classics.
Nice.
That the European mind can't comprehend. The sweet potato casserole, green bean casserole, all that good stuff.
Awesome. Yeah. That actually sounds really. Now I'm hungry. Big. Any shout outs for you, man?
Yeah, shout out to my new girlfriend. Her name is Claude. She's AI, and she's been helping me make websites for the past few weeks. She's been my best friend. So shout out to Claude and Cursor, the AI agent that's been helping me connect with Claude. Shout out to that.
Jake, how about you, man?
I don't think I can actually follow that. That's quite intense. I don't have an AI girlfriend to shout out, but shout out to my actual girlfriend who is ignoring me talking about something incredibly boring in the corner. So, boring for her, amazingly interesting for us.
Well, I thank her for giving us your time and letting you be part of this. I'm going to shout out Chillmorn on Terracar, one of the listeners, and I was chit-chatting with them on the beta, and they helped me get into some of the solo queue BGs, only to find out that they were broken. So, but still, training grounds. It's a work in progress. Hopefully, they'll get working soon.
Yeah, it's just beta.
Yeah,
It's the classic. It's just beta.
Beta being beta things.
Pre-patch. Next expansion.
Yeah,
we'll see how it goes, I guess.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they're working by the .3 patch at midnight. We'll see. No,
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be working once we actually launch. But I know they're focused on other things. But yeah, if anybody doesn't know, training grounds currently there's only 2 of the 3 you can queue up, and when you do, the NPCs, the AI just stays in the starting room, and of course then they're not killable. So you have to actually quickly do the objectives. But yeah, it is a thing. Then. Just in case anybody listening doesn't know who you are or where they could find you on the interwebs, or if they wanted to give you their Twitch primes, where they could do that, do you want to tell them?
Yeah, sure. It's twitch.tv/Verunki. I stream live on Twitch and YouTube almost every single day. I think I went live 310 days. That's what my recap said in the last year. So it's quite a bit. So if you'll see me, I'm live every morning for coffee.
Gotta love coffee with Ben. All right. Big. Do you want to tell everybody else where we're found?
Yes, I can do that. You can contact us directly on Twitter at technically_PVP or on Blue Sky at technicallypvp.bluesky.social or by an email to technicallypvp@gmail.com. You can also join our discussions on the Bonus Roll Productions Discord.
And you can visit the Bonus Roll website to find the podcast directory with us and many other great shows at www.bonusroll.gg. This directory also has a review system, so head on over there and tell everyone what you think of your favorite shows, including our own.
Indeed. And if anybody can't find Verunki, don't worry about it. I'm going to have some links for him in the show notes, so you can just click and then give him your Twitch Prime. In the meantime, thank you everybody for listening, and good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.